So I'm going to share with you a strategy for basically how to navigate search bars and get more relevant results for you. Ever typed in something like real estate and then just everything comes up and it's not really what you're looking for in Google or various other types of platforms? This is actually a very well-known tool, Boolean or Boolean, depends on what country you're in and how they pronounce it. Regardless, it's something that's really akin to the recruitment or headhunting industry in terms of how we navigate and pass through candidates on job boards or CVs or resume sites where you can essentially mine potential candidates for a given position. There's a couple of other benefits I'm going to share with you about that. But what it is, it ties directly with my recruitment experience, my headhunting experience, but also taps into social media in terms of how you're going to use those platforms to essentially find the people you're looking to work with. And those people need to be relevant. You don't want to just do, wild searches that pull up thousands of potential possible leads and you're spending months and months and months. You've already spent some time putting together your deal, your structure, your scale, you've got this distribution plan that you're trying to get involved, but now suddenly you're stuck because you just got so many different options out there. They're not 100% qualified, although they are relevant to your industry, and you're trying to figure out how to find people that would naturally be interested. So Boolean search is a very useful way. It's not a tool. It's really a strategy of how to just type in a search box. And it's something that hasn't gone away, and I don't expect it will go away for a very, very long time. And it can be used in Google, being, like I say, resume databases and social media platforms, specifically LinkedIn. LinkedIn's great for this. And let me tell you something here. It's like a bit of a shark tactic, if you want to call it a shark tactic or a trick, in terms of finding some of the companies that you want to get involved with. Yes, you've got your traditional means of going on Instagram and Facebook and look at who's in the industry that you could potentially speak to. But equally, if you've got something a little bit more, like more of a niche market, more specialized, and you need to find relevant people and they're not so obvious, or their job titles or the things that they're involved in may or may not include this particular specialism that you're looking to acquire as far as your distribution partners. What you can do is actually go to these resume databases. You can pay the fee. I mean, technically you are a hiring agent. You are a company that's looking to take on someone else. So you can go onto these job boards or CV databases, resume databases. I keep saying CV. CV is the UK version of the word for resume, curriculum vitae, whatever. You can basically pay to log in, and what happens there? You've now got this access, or maybe a series of searches, query boxes that you can use now to try and filter results, and you've got millions of resumes on there. These are people who are basically promoting, much like LinkedIn, they're saying what they've done in the past, what kind of education they've got, roughly where they live, contact details, and the companies they've worked for. That being the key information. You're specifically looking for, let's say, someone who's very familiar with health and fitness, but specifically stem cells. So I want people who've got a sports educational background, who have an interest in this stem cell science, who've got a very, very niche kind of person that I'm looking for. You can actually go into these resume data, type that in using Boolean searches, which I'm about to explain, and actually draw those companies. Now, those people. Now, what happens is those people are saying what companies they worked for. Now you know what companies are involved with that kind of thing. So if you're looking to, engage with relevant businesses, now you know that company definitely has hired people that work with this. So that's a very, very powerful way of cutting through some fat. It's a bit of money that you have to pay, like a couple of $100s to go into these things. And then you use what I'm about to show you, you can get results very, very quickly. So it's all about using certain keywords and certain operators or modifiers. So operators and modifiers are things like parentheses, asterisks, that sort of thing. And of course, and, ors, or nots are your keywords. So let's give you a couple of examples because it's not that difficult, but it can be a bit overwhelming at first. So I'm going to pace through this slowly. So maybe get a pen and paper out and just kind of follow what I'm doing. It's very simple to get. Okay. And using and combines keywords, right? So health and fitness and nutrition. So you just type that into Google. If you type it into Google, just fitness, health, and nutrition without putting and in there, it's actually going to assume that there's an and in there anyway. That's what the space does. So you can specifically type it in so you know what you're doing as far as your search query is concerned. And this works with, I mean, Google's very friendly, but then when you're going into these resume databases, some of them are a bit clunky and they're a bit of an older fashioned search bar. So you have to kind of use Boolean searches to work well. So you go and, which is combining keywords, or broadens the search to include either of the words. So fitness and health and nutrition. And so I want people who are involved with fitness, health and nutrition in either Manhattan or Boston. So I'm happy with both, you know? So that's a really good one. So you can help you with like geo-targeting and that sort of thing. Not narrows it even further by excluding specific keywords. So I want to look at fitness, health and nutrition and in either Manhattan or Boston, but not yoga or Pilates. I don't want to talk to anyone or see anyone who's got a background in yoga or Pilates. So that's helping me now. You see what's happening here? I'm getting more relevant potential candidates or potential business partners. Cause this works in Google. Like it's just going to come up with businesses that aren't involved, that are within these locations that do not involve yoga or Pilates. So now I'm predominantly going to be speaking to other kinds of fitness programs or fitness types of facilities. So that's and it gets further. It gets a bit deeper. Parentheses. You see me do them here around Boston and Manhattan. Using parentheses help you create more complex search by, like this, literally. It's Manhattan or Boston and either yoga or Pilates. So it's going to be pulling up results like that. It's like either in Boston or Manhattan or yoga and Pilates and nothing else. It'll just be either one of those two things. So it's a very strong way, again, pulling it in. Quotation marks, for exact phrases. Type this in Google right now. Just say toothpaste in quotes and all you will get is things that have toothpaste written in the content. And Google will just pull it all up for you, get billions of results. So use quotes to search for an exact phrase. Like I just want hot yoga and Boston or Manhattan or Chicago. So now it's only going to be pulling hot yoga, not normal yoga, not cold yoga. What do you call it? Not hot. I don't do yoga, but hot yoga is pretty specific. That's going to get you in only that in these locations. Using asterisks in place of a character. This one here. This is quite a useful one, actually. It kind of allows you to be a bit lazy in the way that you do things. Using an asterisk in place of a character allows the search engine to substitute the asterisks with any number of letters or characters to finish the word. So, educat. So, it's a bit down here. So I'm going to do educat, and then you got your asterisks. Okay, maybe let's do it up here. Your asterisks there. So what it's going to do is it's going to any number of letters to complete a word, right? So that can go after the asterisk. So it could be giving you educate, educated, education, educational, or educator, anything. Like you could put admin, administrator, administration, administrating. It's basically allowing you to just broaden that search within anything that has or begins with this, is going to be relevant to you. So it's a very, very, very good way. I mean, I do this with absolutely every single one of my searches when it comes to any kind of business I'm working with, whether it's the fitness industry with that personal trainer of mine who had his pre-workout drink. First thing I did was I went into resume databases just to find out people who worked with like caffeine products in this space, that bit. I mean, it's just finding anyone that's potentially relevant and really what we call shortlisting. You're shortlisting anyone you want to speak to. You're putting together your hot list of potential candidates, in this case, businesses, to work with. So it's very, very strong, very, very powerful way of doing things. Anyway, here's an example of like a typical query. Hot yoga and health and fitness, or hot yoga and health and fitness and instruct. And that will give you instructor, instruction, instructing, like that. So now if I'm in the position of, if I'm in the business of selling yoga mats, and they're not that fancy. I've just gone to the same manufacturer, and I've done this before, by the way, with one of my wife's friends who's involved with yoga. It's just a standard mat. They had like a little, 10% of all the proceeds goes to a charity, and it's just a nice, good quality mat, and they had their logo on it, and they had this little backstory of the person's history, why it was so nice, and why they love yoga and how it's changed their life. And this is their product. And if you want it, buy it. But how do we distribute it so that she was actually making sales? Because that's cute, right? You might get a few sales through Instagram if you're constantly doing that and you've got a bit of a following, but how do you get other people to sell it for you? Like, oh my God, this mat's great. It doesn't stink after a hot yoga session, all that kind of stuff. Well, you find anyone involved with hot yoga in the health, fitness, and instructor. You want the instructor, instruction. I want instructors because I know that they're always going to be in a class. They're going to have lots of potential clients who are currently doing yoga, who are doing everything this instructor's telling them. If I can get this instructor to buy into my yoga mat, that's a great salesperson. That's someone that can really shift some product for me. Definitely someone that can promote it for me. And if everyone in this class is either using it or wanting to use it and they start talking about it in social media, my brand awareness is going through the roof. So nice way to really whittle down and cut to who you want to speak to very, very quickly. So do maybe go through this video again. It's one of those secrets, although it's like I say, it's not something I invented. It's like a tool that's very heavily used in certain areas, but not obvious enough for other business types to use it. Like for instance, this, not everyone knows that that's how you can search a CV or a resume database and find candidates that work, of course, for the companies that you want to get involved with. So now you know which companies to call. A very, very powerful way of doing it. And you don't have to pay for the resume databases. LinkedIn is a fantastic place, and Boolean works with LinkedIn. But then equally Facebook too. And Facebook's becoming even more and more and more robust over time. And so these search crews are really pulling lots and lots and lots from all of these types of platforms. Anything that has a search function. So that is Boolean. Try it out, test it out. Go to LinkedIn right now if you've got an account. Just start looking for people in your industry. Just type in whatever business you're in, see what comes up, then start using these queries to start getting a little bit more detailed. And if you want like further instruction, there are like videos, plenty of videos. I'm not just palming you off to someone else, but there are so many videos out there who really give way more details and examples of how you can use these. And then they take it steps further and they start looking at these other things you can add to this if you want to be like a black belt Boolean searcher. That's not really necessary. I'm kind of just keeping you focused on what works, what you can execute against quickly in terms of finding companies that are relevant to your business. So with that said, let's move on to the next section.